Beautiful, beautiful way to come into the space and bring us all to attention this morning. Good morning to all of you, and welcome to all of you to the Unitarian Universalist congregation at Shelter Rock. I am the Reverend Israel Bufardi. I have the pleasure of serving as one of the ministers here, along with my colleagues, the Reverend Dr. Natalie Fenimore, and the Reverend David Carl Olson, and our student minister, Madison Colquitt. Whether you have been here for years or you are joining us for the first or second time today, we are so glad that you are spending this morning with us. So glad that you have chosen to join us. If you're new here, we hope that you will find this place to be a community of warmth, curiosity, and connection. In a world that often feels so divided or overwhelming, spaces like this matter. Here, we gather to reconnect with what is most important, to remember that we are not alone on our journey. Unitarian Universalism is a faith that invites us to be open-hearted and open-minded. So here in this place, may we find wisdom from many sources. From nature, from science, from the stories of our own lives, and in the values that we identify and share: love, compassion, and justice. What is so special and unique about this community is that it calls us to live those values together, to remember that we need not think alike exactly to love alike. And so it's not just about what we believe, but it's about how we show up for one another and for the needs of our world. So we're glad that each and every one of you are here today. If you're visiting, we would love to get to know you. Please fill out a visitor card at the welcome desk out front, and please, we welcome you to join us for lunch, to be our guest today in the social hall. Before we begin today, I would like to take a moment to provide some special invitations to community, some opportunities for all of us to connect and grow and to make new friends. I'd first like to invite you to join us for a special reading from the authors of the 13 Poets from Long Island who will read from their book. That is at 1:15 in the Veach Ballroom. We also invite you to join us this Friday for our fourth Friday, led by Reverend Dr. Natalie Fenimore. We will hear and create the story of stone soup together, and we invite you also to bring some non-perishable food items for our food pantry. Next Sunday is our very special annual tradition of the Thanksgiving service, where you are invited to bring special breads, baked goods from your culture, from your family, to share in the service. And today, right after the service in the social hall, we will have a book signing for those members who became members while our historic membership book was being rebound and couldn't physically sign the book, and also for some new folks who are becoming members today. So we hope that you will join us in there for this brief ceremony of welcome, to cheer them on, to clap for them, and to say welcome to this community. And now, before we begin our service, I'd like to draw one more thing to our attention. You'll see that the candle boxes are here in our room again, providing a time for us to mark the joys, sorrows, concerns, things that are weighing on our hearts by lighting a candle. And we ask that when you do light those candles, you just be mindful that they are lit with fire and that we need to keep safety in mind. So what we will do is we will take a tapered candle and we will light it one on each edge of the box, and you will be invited to light from that tapered candle and to be conscious of whether or not you are reaching over a lit candle. So please don't reach over a lit candle to light your candle. And fear not, because we have also many, many methods of putting out fires in this room, just in case they should ever be needed. And lastly, before we begin our service, We remember that we, in this country, marked Veterans Day this week. And so we honor the service of those who defended freedom. We especially recognize our World War II veterans, Ronnie Arend, and Hugh Stevens. I don't know if I see Hugh in the room. And Hugh Stevens, who are still active in our congregation at 100 years young. And any other veterans who are present in the room and would like to be recognized, I invite you to stand for a moment.
And now we light our chalice with these words from the Reverend Leslie Takahashi, adapted from the words of Rumi. Come, come, whoever you are. Come with your hurts, your imperfections, your places that feel raw and exposed. Come, come, whoever you are. Come with your strengths that the world shudders to hold. Come with your wild imaginings of a better world. Come with your hopes it seems no one wants to hear. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, we will make a place for you. We will build a home together. Ours is no caravan of despair. We walk together. Come, yet again, come. Please rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, number 1021, Lean on Me.
We are
Will you please join in reciting the words of affirmation as we proclaim to each other who we are and what our values are. The words are on your screen. Love is the doctrine of its congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need. This do we affirm and covenant with each other. Be seated.
This month's worship theme is the practice of repair. And in that spirit, I offer this reading, Lessons from a Car Radio by Jackie Clement. Years ago, when my former car, rest its soul, turned 10, it developed an unpredictability and surliness often associated with adolescence. In the beginning, it was just little things, like a rash of burned out headlight bulbs and a rogue seat adjustment. But the one quirk that really got on my nerves was the radio. It turned on and off at will, and seemingly at whim. At first, it would just take a while until the car warmed up before it started working, and then later, take a while until the car didn't warm up, and it still didn't work. Later, it would turn on when I started the car and go off a few minutes later, and then back on again. Still later. For a while, it worked when it was hot, and then it worked when it was cold, and basically it came on and off whenever it felt like it. Over a period of 10 years, I learned a lot of things from my car radio, like all the words to Achy Breaky Heart, and the fact that I still remembered all the words to every song from the 1960s, although I could barely remember my own phone number. But during the 4 years I was in seminary, I stuck pretty much to National Public Radio, and since I drove often, up to 3 hours a day, I learned a lot from my radio. The greatest lesson, though, was this: never get attached to an NPR story, because you never know when the radio is going to turn off. This lesson, repeated many times in the years since, was a lesson in letting go. My radio acted as a Buddhist master, teaching me not to become attached to the state of things as they are, or to a particular outcome. I haven't given up hoping for the best, but I've come to realize that while sometimes the outcome I crave is formed from high-minded ideals based on experience, reason, and research, other times it's just what I want. And when what I want doesn't happen, it's like Galinda says on the stage in the show Wicked, something's terribly wrong, I'm not getting my way. The challenge for me is to see the longer view beyond my limited perspective. It helps to remember that life is impermanent and imperfect. This, coupled with the faith that everything is innately connected, reminds me that clinging to particulars is both futile and unnecessary. That's one other thing I've learned from my car radio. When I graduated from seminary, 3 churches within commuting distance of my home were looking for ministers. They were all prestigious pulpits, and they were not looking for someone fresh out of school. The night after I received the third rejection letter, I headed out to a meeting of my internship site, feeling dejected and blue. When the car started, the radio was silent. And then, about 2 minutes into the trip, it turned on to give me half a line from the Moody Blues, Nights in White Satin. The words said, "I love you." I know it was only the car radio, but somehow I believed it. Every Sunday, and at each worship service, including Soulful Sundown, we take a special collection to support nonprofit groups which serve human need. This month's offering actually, will provide support for 2 organizations: the North Shore Soup Kitchen, a not-for-profit volunteer-based organization established in 1989 to feed hungry people in the Glen Cove area. It is staffed by a group of more than 100 volunteers. These volunteers cook, serve, and clean up after meals. UUCSR has supported the North Shore Soup Kitchen for decades. The AIDS Center of Queens County. Since 1986, the AIDS Center of Queens County, ACQC, has grown to become the largest provider of AIDS HIV services in the borough of Queens, serving over 10,000 HIV+ clients and 30,000 community residents in 5 sites across the borough. For many years, UUCSR has supported ACQC at Thanksgiving, at Christmas, also with our mitten tree, which you'll see in the lobby. Please take a moment to give as generously as you can. You can donate by using the QR code on your order of service. You can also text, use PayPal, or donate at the UUCSR website. It's also important to remember that we still accept checks and cash in a box right outside the lobby. Please give what you can. Thank you.
For all that we carry on our hearts, for all that weighs in our minds, for all the hopes and dreams of our souls today. In a world where so much remains broken, where so much work lies ahead of us, where so much is in need of repair, we pause for a moment to remember that we are always beginning, that we are always in the process of planting seeds, of nurturing hope, and in joining together in the sacred work of renewal that we are all called to. In that spirit of renewal and repair and of planting, I offer us this morning these words of the poet Denise Levertov, her poem entitled Beginnings. She says, "We have only begun to love the earth. We have only begun to imagine the fullness of life. How could we tire of hope? So much is in bud. How can desire fail? We have only begun to imagine justice and mercy, only begun to envision how it might be to live as siblings with beast and flower, not as oppressors." So I say to us this morning, let us be reminded that the river, that the stream, that the timelessness of our efforts does not yet hasten to its end. There is still time for healing, still time for repair, still opportunity for growth. There is still time for forgiveness and love. May we resist despair in all that we carry, from everything in our lives that brings us sadness, and instead take hope and take heart in the unfolding of what is budding and the possibilities yet to be realized. And yet again, let us remember Levertov's words. There is too much broken that must be mended, too much hurt we have done to each other that cannot yet be forgiven. We have only begun to know the power that is in us. if we would join our solitudes in the communion of struggle, So may we find in each of us this morning the courage to step into this communion of struggle, to mend what is within our reach, and to never stop dreaming of a world where justice and mercy are our guide. May we trust in the sacred power of small acts of love, in every kind word, every thoughtful action, every moment of hope, knowing that these moments matter, and knowing that together we shape a more just and a more compassionate world, that what we do for each other in our community matters. Let us remember that and never forget that so much is in bud and that we are never alone in this work. Amen. We will hear our anthem, Wo Ya Ya, and you are welcome to join in singing as well. And welcome to light your candles.
Please come forward to light a candle as you'd wish, of joy or sorrow, before our anthem. Thank you, choir. It's wonderful to stand in front of the light of all of us, and also to realize that something is always broken. Something is always being fixed. We are broken. We are always in need of being repaired. Our bodies will change and age and lose their bounce back. Our minds will also move away from some of its agility. And the soul knows that our hearts will be broken, have been broken almost from the first. From the moment we come to know how much we need love, we will find it missing or lacking in fullness. There is this disappointing love that breaks us in two. To quote Ernest Hemingway, the world breaks everyone, then some become strong at the broken places. We pray that each of us is at least one of those made stronger at the broken places and not just left damaged. But we never know. And the world itself is broken by war and poverty, by hatred and fear. The world is broken by climate catastrophe. How will we find our way to making the changes needed to repair the earth? Are we so afraid that we cannot find a way to repair, that we turn away, live in denial and distraction? Is this a way of protecting ourselves from the trauma of a doomsday outcome we are sure we cannot avoid? But if we deny the brokenness, we may not find our way to repair. Brokenness is a part of our lives, and therefore so is the need for repair. Our very need for this community is to have a place to practice repair. Here, I hope we don't need to spend so much wasted time denying and hiding our cracked selves. Here, we may find a friend to listen to our stories, to see us in our wholeness. No false identities, no hiding, no need to pretend perfection. We all know that each of us has been hurt, has been wounded, cracked. Each of us must know that the other is in need of repair. We can learn something from the Japanese practice of kintsugi, a golden joinery, a golden repair. Traditionally, in Japan, a small island with few natural resources, nothing should be wasted. Broken things should be repaired. Japanese culture has this concept of wabi-sabi, finding beauty in what is simple, impermanent, imperfect. In kintsugi, a precious or sentimental piece of pottery or ceramics that is broken can be repaired. You gather up all the pieces, all the broken pieces. Then with resin, tree resin, you put them back together, holding them back together. And then you fill the cracks with gold. This process can take hours or days or weeks, gathering all the broken pieces together just right, sanding the resin and filling it with gold. The golden repair becomes a part now of the history of the pot. The golden repair adds a new element of beauty, a new life to the piece. Leah Rader says that the point of kintsugi is to treat broken pieces and their repair as a part of the history of the object. A break is something to remember, something to value, a way to make the piece more beautiful. The philosophy of kintsugi can be extended to how we think about ourselves. We can also be repaired and our cracks filled with gold. Our cracks acknowledged and appreciated, not forgotten. They can also tell a new story about ourselves. Our breaks are a part of who we are. Our experiences can give us the wisdom which we as Unitarian Universalists value in all people. There is a Buddhist understanding of impermanence and an Islamic sense that total perfection is not a human goal. In traditional kintsugi, a tree resin is used to gather up the broken pieces of pottery and hold them together in place as the restoration begins. But the resin, which comes from a native tree in Japan, is the lifeblood of the tree. Taking the resin will kill the tree. So what to do? One thing is to do what is done traditionally in Japan, that is to honor the tree as a living thing which is given something precious to you. To use the resin only carefully and for a good purpose. Adding the life of the tree to the life of the object that is repaired, and appreciating and being grateful for both the repair, the resin, the tree. In modern kintsugi, practitioners find that they can replace some of the precious resin with superglue. Yes, superglue. It too can hold the pieces securely in place and form the firm and stable base for the beginning of the repair. The superglue is still covered with the golden repair of the cracks. What is our superglue? What are the contemporary ways in which we hold things together? The contemporary way in which we hold this loving community together? How do we sometimes replace our old ways of being and doing, like using superglue instead of tree resin? How might we need to make a change from our old ways of being together to new ways of being together? How might we sometimes need to abandon the former ways of forming family and community? What do we need to hold us together now? Yes, tradition. Tradition can hold us together across generations, and tradition is not enough. Tradition needs to be revisited and updated and expanded to include the needs of new generations, to acknowledge the ways in which the world has changed, the ways in which we need to change. The gifts and talents of each generation have to be enfolded into our practice of community making. When the kintsugi pot is finally completed and covered in gold, who knows if what is at the base of it is tree resin or superglue? If they are each strong enough to do the job, if they each enable the process to go forward, does it take away from the finished beauty if it's resin or superglue? Does it take away from the strength of the repair? Would doing things the way we've always done them, or adding something new, take away from the strength of this community? This community has the things which hold it together. Its resin and its superglue. It also has its cracks, and it sometimes is in need of deep repair. The fact that we can practice repair is actually a great gift to us. A community needs to know that it can go through something and be repaired, reconciled, renewed. We can regularly recommit ourselves to our covenant and come out stronger. Being covenantal is a muscle we need to use to keep in working order. We need to regularly practice repair and restoration to strengthen this community. We are, after all, a group of human beings with all that that implies about imperfection. In Kitsuki, you don't hide the cracks and imperfections, but you celebrate them. The beauty of what is broken is highlighted. The repair becomes a symbol of resilience and acceptance. It's a kind of reincarnation. Don't toss away what is damaged, but renew its function and its value. We can do that for each other. The poet Nikki Giovanni has written, I'm not sure that it's always important that I know what people are talking about at my age. My hearing is weak and my memory is weaker. But I know how to smile and say yes. I used to think that dirt made things grow. Then I thought it was water. But now I know it's the evening air and the sound of the birds and the loving smile from you. Even in our brokenness, in our aging, in our hurts, in our failures, in our challenges, in our disappointments, it is love, hugs and kisses to ease our hurts. It is love, sympathy and compassion, gratitude and appreciation. It is love, connection and interdependence. It is love which can heal us. Love is the way to repair. We must come to see our hearts, our so often broken hearts, not as cracked and ugly, but as lined with gold-filled beauty. As we enter this season of Thanksgiving, the season of appreciation, the season of gratitude, with our minds and hearts turned toward exploring this practice of repair, may we embrace these words of Adrienne Marie Brown. We are our only relevant hope. We are our only possible medicine. A body is always a body, wounded, festering, healing, healed. We choose each day what body we will shape with the miraculous material we've gifted. Let us finally attend to the wound. Let us finally name the violence. Let us finally break the cycle of supremacy. Let us finally choose ourselves whole. Let us finally choose ourselves whole. Let us admire our broken beauty. May it be so. Please rise in body or spirit to sing our closing hymn, number 1053 in the Teal hymnal, How Could Anyone? Closing, these words from Alberto Rias, The Broken. Something is always broken. Nothing is ever perfect longer than a day. Every roof has a broken tile, every mouth a chipped tooth. Something is always broken, but the world endures the break. The broken twig is how we follow the trail. The broken promise is the one we remember. Something changed is pushed out the door, sad perhaps, but ready, too ready for the world. Something is always broken. Something is always fixed. We extinguish our chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please be seated for the postlude.